Good morning, my friends. Today, it's a very beautiful sunny day, which means it's probably really cold outside, but that's okay. We live in Montreal, Canada, so it's to be expected, even though this year has been a little bit colder than usual, whether that's due to global warming or global warming reversing itself or something about the sun. I've read about there's like a solar I don't know, something solar where the sun is not as strong as it usually is, and it's making the world a little bit cooler this year or for the next several years. So today, someone had a suggestion in the comments, and someone got a little bit upset that I didn't take upon the request as quickly as I could. The request was to do a video on how to gain SoundCloud followers, essentially how to gain a following in your music, how to get people to listen to your music. And I think just already you're kind of setting yourself up for failure with that mindset. The whole point of making music is, you're not trying to appeal to anyone, really. You're not trying to follow the trends. The reality is most people are laymen and they don't really care about, different music and trying to find something new. They'll generally just follow the trend. They're generally not really trying to find music that they enjoy. They're just sort of listening to music, whatever it is, and it's perfectly fine. People's lives aren't dictated by music, and in fact, the majority of music in the pop industry, whatever's being pumped out, is for the most part marketed towards 13-year-old girls, which is again, that demographic of people isn't really looking for good music. To put it lightly, they enjoy it because it's well produced, it's well manufactured. It's like everyone loves Doritos, but it's not of the same caliber as a well-refined meal at a fancy restaurant, right? And a lot of 13-year-olds might go to that restaurant, get something that's like maybe worth like $60 at a restaurant, and they'll be like, "Ew, don't you have any like chicken nuggets?" It's like, it's that kind of mentality. It's the same thing that applies to music. So anyway, going back about wanting to get followers, it's like, what do you really want? To me, if you're a musician and you're more focused on followers, you're not going to make a living off of that, definitely. There are plenty of musicians and producers out there that they have a huge following, a huge SoundCloud base of fans, or fans, depending on how loosely you want to define that term. But they don't make money from it, really. They don't make a living off of it, that's for sure. And I guess the people who are asking me about how to get followers, usually they're probably like 16, 17. They're not focused on money because they don't believe money is important at their point in life. So they're thinking like, oh, it's not about the money, it's about the music, man. If you're focused on followers still, then it is about the money. That's all of what it is, really. What is money? It's a numerical value based off of value. And you're attributing your value of music based on how many people listen to it. But you can't do anything with those listens. Those listens can't be utilized in a marketplace. You can't use it to buy things. You need money. Money is the equivalent of a play, of a like, etc. But it's an actual legitimate measurement of value. These likes and plays that you get aren't a legitimate source of value of anything. They're merely a moment of time where someone feels the need, like, oh, I like this. They press a button. They repost it. It's a button. It's all it is. You're not getting anything. You're getting numbers on a screen. It's not going to get you anything in real life. It's not going to pay your rent. It's not going to get you food. So if you're a musician and your focus is getting plays, you're not going to get money. Now, when I was starting out, I was in the headspace of wanting to get followers, and I sort of realized after time it's really not that important. If you have a way to make money, you generate sales on Bandcamp, for instance, and you have 100 diehard fans of your music, they'll buy everything you release. So let's say you make a tape, you charge it for like $10 each. Your cost of production is maybe $3 a tape, so your profit is $7 a tape and you have 100 fans, which is nothing compared to like people who have like 50,000 followers on SoundCloud and they're broke. But you have 100 diehard fans, that's $700 a month, right? $700 a month. That's like $8,400 a month. So already you're basically making a little less than half of the minimum wage living standard, right? So and that's just with 100 fans, right? So that's the real market. You're not really looking for followers, because followers don't mean anything. If you want followers, just go on a SoundCloud thing and buy some followers. If that's all you care about is some numbers on a screen. But I guess you want legitimate followers. Well, let me tell you about legitimate followers. People don't follow you for the same reasons. Somebody can follow you because they genuinely like your music. They genuinely want to follow you. They genuinely are fans of yours, and they genuinely want to support you by buying your merch, by buying your music, by streaming it on repeat. Repeat streams are very good, right? If you have someone listening to your music like 20 times in a row, that's upping the amount of plays you get by 20. And if you have 100 diehard fans, that's 2,000 plays. So you don't need to have a lot of followers, because a lot of followers aren't following you for the right reasons. They're following you for a couple reasons. One, they're on SoundCloud. They want to follow things that they feel is the trend, right? They'll listen to Lil Yachty, they'll listen to Lil Pump, whatever, all those guys, and they think like, oh, I want to follow some trap music. So let's say you make some trap music, they'll follow you for that reason, but they won't actively listen to your music in an enjoyable way. They'll listen to it because it's like they want to feel like they're a part of the movement, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's the same with every genre, whether you make dubstep, whether you make house, whether you make vaporwave. I'm using trap as an example because that's generally what's most popular now. And if you go on SoundCloud, that's generally what most people are making to fit into that movement. You also have to understand that on SoundCloud, most of your followers are just going to be other producers. So if you're making music in a certain style of music, let's say trap in this case, a lot of your followers are just going to be other trap producers. And what do they want? They want plays. It's a feedback loop. They don't care about your music. They're going to comment, oh, this is sick, fam. They'll like your track, repost it, because they're hoping that you'll follow them back and you'll repost their track. That's the mentality. That's the game. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. It's just how it is. So when you say you want to get more followers, you're sort of just setting yourself up for not really getting anything of value, because you're just looking for numbers. You're not actually looking for a real relationship with fans. You're not looking to genuinely make something that appeals to someone in a profound way. And that's where your real market is. You don't need to get followers. If you have like 10 diehard followers, you can easily make like twice as much money as someone who has 50,000 followers, right? And this is getting different because Spotify, people get paid a little bit on Spotify. So generally you want more plays to get on Spotify than on SoundCloud. But the problem with Spotify is, let's say you want to get those big plays. So you get onto this big playlist of music. So that song does well. Great. You get 1 million plays. You get $100. Whatever, you're good. People are not going to listen to that playlist forever. It's not going to be this thing that's constantly going to be there. Somebody might update the playlist, take your track off. Are people actively seeking out your music when you release new stuff? Probably not, because they weren't listening to that playlist for you. They were listening to that playlist for whatever reason. Let's say it was a playlist like cool, relaxing sounds. Okay, they don't give a shit about you. The customer is not actively seeking out artists most of the time. Sometimes maybe they'll like have a song that comes up and they'll be like, oh, I really like this. I like this artist. But if your mentality is to only get plays, guess what? They won't care about you because you're not actually trying to make something genuine. And that's the other thing. The only reason people are going to come back to you is if you're making something genuine that people genuinely enjoy listening to, and not just in a disposable manner. People make disposable music too much, and they think that's like, oh, it's cool. It's like, you got to keep it fresh. You got to keep it fresh, whatever. You're just going to end up working your ass off until you're dead trying to keep making fresh music. And you're going to get old and not with the times. You want to make music that people are still listening to 50 years from now. That's what the Beatles do. The Beatles are still, Paul McCartney was an idiot, or was it Paul McCartney or John Lennon? I don't know. One of them sold their rights to Michael Jackson, which is a stupid idea because that music is making ridiculous amounts of money to this day. And it's been 50 years since it's been released. And it's still timeless. That's what you really want to look for, is to make music that's not following a trend just for the sake of the trend. It's fine to like sort of find a trend, take examples from it to sort of like meld your music into it. But really you want to make something that's appealing to people, not just right now, but on the long term. People want to come back to it. That's the real moneymaker. And it's a moneymaker because it's genuine. It's genuinely something that's a good product. You're making good music, and it's in an objective stance. So anyway, I talked a lot about this, but yeah, that's all I really have to say. And I hope you have a wonderful day.